Very cool. Very cool. Need to move a bunch of stuff around. Zoop. Okay. Why is the stream manager not showing my stream? What the heck? It looks like it's working. Twitch is just goofy. Okay. Yeah, bitrate's up. Hello. We're here. We did it. We made it. Happy Saturday. We need to craft a tweet. Hey, Nicola. Good to see ya. Welcome back. Thanks for joining. I gotta log in my other terminal to the root account so I can show billing stuff. Hey, Sinner. Thank you. I'm still a hero unless they've kicked me out. That GIF I made about not loving Amazon Q, maybe that's gonna do it. Where's my root account? I have way too many AWS accounts. One thing that people don't get to deal with anymore is all the problems with. I used to have to manage all these AWS accounts using usernames and passwords. Now I have Identity Center and it's great. But I want to. I got more YouTube stuff I want to do, so we'll film a couple videos. I think. Yeah. Okay. Hell yeah. Today I took a look at Cloud Quest. What is Cloud Quest? Oh, I didn't know they did this. So I'm going to talk about literally the Learner FAQ. Hey Seb, welcome back. I was going to talk about AWS Educate. I did not know they had Cloud Quest. This is cool. Cloud practitioner, Gen AI specialist. Oh, kill me. Serverless developer. I mean, I would do the free stuff for sure. I'll put this in here too. I'll put this in the list of stuff. Let me make sure it's on my outline. Where's my prompt engineer track? Gen AI badge. Hey, welcome back everybody. Good to see you. It's pouring rain here in Boston. It's 60 degrees. It's crockpot season. I'm thrilled. I can't wait. I've got my Port Authority bus terminal shirt on here. Love it. This is from Datadog Hackathon. I mess around a lot with my Twitch settings. So if there is something sounds off or the volume is low or high, let me know. I feel like I've been trying to get better at this generally. And I've noticed my audio seems like a little low compared to other folks on both YouTube and like Twitch VODs. Is anyone else, when you come here, do you turn up your volume at all? So I've got this like, they're hard to kind of show it on camera, but I'm using the USB interface for this MV7. And it's like maxed out on gain. And I think if I project loudly, it works fine. But if I start to talk normally, I think it gets a little quiet. So please let me know. Appreciate you all. The Theo tweet cracked me up. Where was this? This was hilarious. He made this meme live. He was doing a stream and he where'd it go? Yeah, Coolify mentioned. Nice. I didn't even like that. We do love Coolify. We should deploy Coolify. Should we do? Okay, chat. I wanted to do one of the things I was thinking about doing today, or maybe tomorrow, is Oracle Cloud. Has like we talked about this last week, but their free tier looks kind of cool. So maybe we'll do some Coolify stuff on Oracle Cloud, which would be anti-brand. But this just really cracked me up this week. I was dying looking at this. Also, it's nuts that this thing just got 250,000 views for like this. We should do a tweet. Got to talk about Corey Quinn. Oh, we'll do it my billing. Yeah. Let's look at my billing information. That'll make a good tweet. Oh, and I have to maximize OBS so that I can get a good screenshot with my face. Where is my billing analysis? Boom. How's everyone doing? Baby's sleeping well again. We need the alarm. Light. Red. What is it? Light? Is it this one? No. Yeah. Boom, boom, boom. All right. We did the tweet. Sweet. Okay. Let's take a look actually where I'm at right now. Can everyone see this okay? Yeah, okay. 27 services, chat. We are blowing money. Does this not work at this resolution? Is that the problem? What is it drawing? Why is it all 0? What did I do wrong? Oh, because I have all these credits? Or is it just because... What did I do wrong? Because I definitely have a bill. Yeah, here we go. Alright, we got to make it bigger for y'all. View bill. Oh, should we look at how many credits I have still on this account? 102. You can't really see it. This was from when I was in college, and I got a much bigger bill than this, and they gave me a credit. Some of these are actually AWS Community Builder credits from when I was in that program. But yeah, I have a bunch of hero credits, but I've mostly given those out. I'm thinking I'm gonna do a giveaway. Probably not on stream. I'll probably do it like, you know, async on Twitter or on YouTube or something. But yeah, I'll give away some more credits. I've given a few away on stream before. Boom, boom. 831, that looks fine. Dimension service, that looks fine. Yeah, I got 500 for one of them. Big spender. Hey, Hack and Soul. Hey, Bertrand. Good to see you. Yeah, Founder Pass. They used to give you, what was it, 100K for Founder Pass, Sinner? That's our budget. I know it's going to be $0, but I want to see. Where is it? Why can't I see? Like, it tells me I have a, yeah. One active budget. What do I have for my budget? Yeah, okay. So I want to talk about this for sure. Domains, baby. Buying domains. Hey, Regalius. Good to see you. That was the Activate Providers things. Yeah, I think so. You need two MBAs. I mean, Datadog is a pretty successful cloud cost management product. So if people will pay Datadog for that. Yeah, the 1.5. They were giving out 100K for a long time. Yeah. So here's what I did, right? I did alert. How did I do this? Yeah, oh yeah, I did 85% and then 100%. Yep. What is it? No, Bertrand, send me this WordPress open source drama. So I want to do another YouTube video. We're working on my outline right here. Chat, you can see it. Is there anything, chat, am I missing something here? This is a big one. Free tier is not an account type. It is a thing. So once you exceed it, you get a bill. Nothing gets turned off. The student account thing, AWS Educate. That's a good thing to do. Billing alerts, which we're going to talk about. Reading the free tier pricing rules. high availability stuff that costs money, using the console, not turning stuff off. And then this is going to be cloud formation, and Terraform can help. CDK, SST are great. Don't forget to delete EBS. Okay, fought so hard to get this for my startup. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh no, I gotta figure out Reddit. I'm not really an expert here. I don't know how you people look at new Reddit, and I'm sorry for the flashbang. Do I not have dark mode over here? Jesus, fine. We'll go back to new Reddit. How do I turn on new Reddit's dark mode? Someone teach me. Here we go. Boom. There we go. Matt just threw WP Engine under the bus hard. Okay, so yeah, WordPress. Matt's the person who created WordPress, right? Dang. Silver Lake Capital, the private equity firm that took over WP Engine. Yeah, I mean, once private equity takes over, you're in trouble. Like, they did that for New Relic, and it's been tough. Very bad behavior. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Hack and Soul. WordPress, WP Engine is like, it used to be, I think it was like WordPress and WordPress Engine. It was similar to like Laravel and then like Laravel Forge, where they created it. They had this open source product. It's, you know, WordPress obviously is like 40% of the web or something. And then WP Engine was like the one-click way to deploy it, and everything is great. And then it got acquired by private equity. They took a majority stake, and it's just been meh. Yeah. I mean, I think I haven't seen PE take over and do good things for communities. Silver Lake Capital. It's like the Mitt Romney of WordPress. Dang. All right, what else am I missing here, chat? And then we can record the video. Deploying sweet HA stuff. This is cool. Yeah, I mean, obviously, we all want to deploy triple load balance services that are, you know, totally global, but that's not free. Yeah, there's many WordPress options. Yeah, for sure. Just found it super weird to complain that people aren't doing enough open source stuff. I can see that. It's just like, it's hard to justify investing yourself like in that like open source space when like people are taking profit directly off the top with their like managed provider. You know what I mean? Elastic has a similar problem. Like, I think it's very common if you want to get a job there, right? It's great. Like, go work on OpenSearch, you know, or like Elasticsearch service, and then get a job at Elastic or get a job at OpenSearch. That's fine. But I don't think you're going to get much like sympathy from those people as far as like just being a contributor to that stuff. Yeah, Matt owns a direct competitor to WP Engine. Yeah, I saw that. Hack and Soul. OpenSearch just went to the Linux Foundation. So, but they're still backed by AWS. Like, Amazon's still paying for a lot of the development. I think, did they do that for Valky too? Man, Valky is just killing it. They're doing so well. Every time I look at their GitHub, they're shipping crazy performance wins on a service that's already really hard to improve. Really impressed. What was I just looking at? I don't remember. This is, I love looking at like Valky's repo and some of the other like very popular libraries. Doing a great job. Melky, isn't that the Go YouTuber guy? Guys, I don't think people realize that Melky and Dax were like in on it, and a lot of people were replying, like they baited a bunch of people into replying saying like, you know, one is toxic or the other is toxic, when they're both like baiting everybody. But you do have to like know them both are like kind of be in on the joke, I guess. Valky can be compiled using Linux, OS X, OpenBSD. Yeah, exactly, Hack and Soul. Does OSI sponsor Valky? Is Oracle good now? Chat, is Oracle good now? That was my other idea for the video this week, is going to be, is Oracle good now? No, Melky isn't sponsored. I wouldn't expect Melky to be sponsored by Oracle. Don't they have sponsors here? I mean, Larry's loaded. Oh, okay. I also want to do a whole video on Hyperlog. We use this all the time, and I don't think anyone really, well, people don't talk about this as much. I think low-level learning does. But bitmaps and bitfields, and especially like roaring bitmaps or compressed bitmaps, aren't as popular as they should be. What's their community? Do they have a Discord? No. What's Garnet, Hack and Soul? What do you mean? A gemstone? Let's see the disambiguation. Places, other uses. Is it a company name? Discontinued operating system? All I know is Garnet, Wisconsin, right? Isn't that a place? No, okay. Yeah, it is. Oh, they have Microsoft has a tool. What is this? I keep just flashbanging all of you people. Someone finally explained to me what flashbanging was. People in this chat were saying that to me the last couple of weeks, and I didn't know what it was, and then I was in Dax's chat. And someone answered it. Oh, it's a cache. Yeah. Much faster. Is it? We should also... .NET as a runtime is pretty goated. It is really, really good. All right, what do we talked about surprise billing. Oh, yo, welcome to the chat. TTV then on Phoenix. Hey, thanks for the follow. I feel like the coder world would know the answer to this. Welcome to the coder world. I made a store. Not going to say the name, but I don't know how to advertise to other people. I don't know, man. I have no idea. I'm not a marketing expert. I'm a software engineer. Appreciate the follow, though. I think if you've got like an e-com store, I think the classic things are to, you got to spend money on advertising. But yeah, SEO, backlinks, marketing. I don't know. I think like... Hey, Sally the Goose, welcome back. .NET's pretty amazing. Devs in the world tend to do over-abstract. Yeah, it's very much inspired by like the OOP world, but the runtime itself is really good. It's got so much stuff baked into it. We actually just merged. We just merged a change into our .NET instrumentation for ready to run, which is their like pre-compiled binary option, and we just like shaved another 300 milliseconds off of our cold starts, which is sick. So I'm really impressed by .NET. I don't know anything about it though. I've got Rider here. Is it Rider? Yeah, Rider. RIDER. I've made like 2 PRs into our. Oh my god, is my chat not showing up? Why not? I have to figure out why chat's not showing up on this thing. Is it the wrong layer? Do I have this wrong? No. There we go. I did have the wrong layer. Dang it. I had it under something. I don't know what. Sorry, chat. There we go. Okay, we're fixing it. We'll figure it out. We'll figure out my stream at some point. There we go. We got to align that. Thanks, everyone, for saying test. Very helpful. Okay. Do we have chat here? I mean, I show you there, but yeah, no, there's no chat in my preview. Okay. What's my take on companies selling wrappers around SES S3? Are you talking about like upload thing? I don't feel bad because there's like a whole bunch of people that would never have an AWS account. So that can be useful. I don't have, yeah, resend is fine too. Like I was using SendGrid and Mailgun forever. There's a bunch of reasons why you want to use that. You could say the same thing about like Auth0 versus like Cognito or just building your own auth. Building your own auth is a little different because I think it's pretty easy. But yeah, exactly. If you need something today, it's nice to drop it in, and then eventually you're gonna want to move it out yourself. You share the same AWS account as other people. Oh, I didn't know that. I think there's like oodles of risk everywhere. Don't get me wrong. But I don't think. Wait, I want to go back here. Yeah, exactly. Sally the Goose, what things impress you with the .NET runtime? They do like low level stuff really well, and it's really well optimized. So once for example, if you have like a Lambda function that's running in warm, .NET tends to be actually as fast as like Rust to render a response or something. So it's crazy how good it is when it's like up. It has a slow cold start in Lambda, but it's, if you think about it from like a traditional server, it's really well optimized. Similar to the way that Java can be really fast, but I think .NET does it really well right out of the box with like less understanding about all the knobs that you have to know with the JVM. Dax also thinks CDNs works. So CDNs are fine. I didn't see what him and Gamer were arguing about. Barrier to roll your own infra is lowering, for sure. I do think that the value of SaaS stuff is being driven down. It always has been, right? Like the value of everything we do is a commodity, and it goes to zero at some point, because you just expect to have it. And here's like a simple example to that. When, like back in the day, like I remember in 2004 or so, the craziest world was that you had like some computer here, right? Like computer A and computer B, and you could like, have the same, if you want to like transfer files, you were going to do this on like a USB drive, right? Like back in the day, you want to get files here to here, you'd use like a flash drive. And then at some point what happened is that we took all this and we said, wait a second, we're just going to, Dropbox and Box are going to come around. And then it was, okay, you get like cloud storage, and that's going to be a thing. And then it was any computer, right? And then the coolest thing happened was like your phone. Like the next thing came across, right? You have like your phone, and then you had your computer. And I actually just looked at my flash drive. I had one in a box. I was looking for something, and I laughed and thought about that. I was like, when was the last time I used this? But there was a time when like, and you still see some people do this, where like the only way to get stuff here was like email. You like email it to yourself or something, right? And now every single app on your phone, no matter what it is, you expect this all to be bidirectionally replicated for you always. Like that's what today's world is. We just expect that you can have, a browser tab open on your phone and then immediately pick it up on your laptop. And that's incredible, but that's a commodity. That used to be like Dropbox did this and charged for it. And then the next generation, every single app is just expected to have shared file store. So when we talk about like the commodification of something, this is exactly what it looks like. For a brief period of time, this was $1 billion, multi-billion-dollar company, and it still is. Like it does well, but it's now an expectation. And now runtimes like Ruby on Rails and Laravel and all these different like frameworks will just have options for this. Obviously, AWS has options for this. So going back to the thing about like wrappers, it's a useful product. It's certainly, compared to a bunch of other stuff, easy to get off the ground. But I don't know how long those can be like last and defensible. But I think what like specifically Theo can do is he can just keep like he can build a product that's just so easy to use that people like never have to go and sign up for AWS or learn it. Obviously, once they do it, they can like get it done and figure it out. But for a lot of people, it's just like they want this problem solved and they're willing to pay a little bit for it, and there's margin and opportunity there. I'm just saying it like commodifies really, really quickly, and that's happening all over SaaS. So then you look at what like SST is doing, and they're just looking at every common pattern, and they're saying we're going to create an OSS option for that. So you need to deploy a Stripe webhook. Like it used to be, okay, you gotta you would pay somebody even to come and like build your checkout page, and now there's going to be like this one-click experience that Stripe provides you, and you just drop it onto your page and whatever, right? I used to work in a PCI compliance shop, and that was crazy hard to get right. And now all that stuff is like doable at like small, like low rates, because payment processors are competing for fractions of percents. So you gotta like, and this happens everywhere. You have to, The commodification of software is normal. It's a good part of the process. The value of everything we do goes to zero, but that's why if you continue to event or you continue to improve, you get to keep that money, and then people aren't going to, churn off you because you continue to get better. So that's sort of the opportunity you have there. I probably should have recorded that rant. I need to get better about that. I haven't recorded anything yet today. Okay. So we have our billing account. What other stuff do I want to pull up to talk about this? Oh, should we start an instance and then terminate it? Oh yeah, can you trust it to be around? I mean, that's an important like build versus buy thing. But if it only took you a minute, oh, why is my camera blurry? Hello. If it only took you like 3 minutes to set up, like how long is it really going to take you to move somewhere else? Less so for data storage people, like S3 kind of stuff, but for SES, like email, you need your template and your email list. Then you have to trust that they have high high reputation email addresses, and that's really it. There's not a whole lot else. Okay. Back to the AWS Marketplace we go. I mean, that's a great place to spend your credits too. You can buy a bunch of great stuff on the AWS Marketplace. All right, I'm going to grab some water. I'll be right back. 2 seconds. All right. Hack and Soul says another big problem is that in order to use service like Recent, you got to entrust them with access to your domain. Yeah, of course. Absolutely. Data security is a big consideration when you pick any vendor. Okay, audio sounds okay though, folks. We're feeling good. We are going to pause the music and we are going to start. Got my outline. Bum 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 bum. All right, here it goes. The top 10 things people get wrong about AWS billing. Let's talk about it and let's dive in. We got a lot to talk about here, and I think this is going to be a longer video, so stick with me. The very, very first thing I think a lot of people get wrong when they sign up for AWS is thinking that they're signing up for an AWS free account. There is no such thing as a free AWS account. When you sign up, you have to give them your credit card. If you use a paid service, you'll get a bill. So it's really, really important to understand that there is no free account on AWS. There is no way that you'll never get a bill unless you follow kind of these instructions about the free tier, but there's only one type of account. So I think the second thing is, if that is a concern for you, you should check out AWS Educate. Now, it is always completely free. You can't get yourself in a situation using these tools where you get a bill, but they're structured courses. So you can't just use everything. There are, guides on getting started with storage, getting started with compute, getting started with networking. It's going to teach you a lot about AWS. It's designed for beginners, and you can register it for free, and you can use it for free, and you're never going to get a bill if you're using an AWS Educate account. So number one, free tier is not an account. Number two, not using AWS Educate. Number three, this is the third most common mistake, not using a billing alarm. So the very first thing you should do when you create an AWS account is create a billing alarm for a budget. So what you can do, you got to turn this on, and you have to be in your root account credentials. So you should never use the root account for anything other than billing. But for this case, you're going to sign into your root account, and you're going to go to the billing preferences and alert preferences, and then turn on CloudWatch billing alerts. So you can get alarms for your estimated billing. Now, one downside is that you can't get warnings for about 24 hours. They come in. So if you're really ramping up a bill fast, that can get super expensive. Bum, bum, bum. Sorry, I just had to ban somebody in chat. Okay, so the third biggest mistake is not creating a billing alarm. You got to go in here. You got to create a billing alarm. And what you want to do is make sure you set a limit that you're comfortable hitting. What I like to do is set a value for like $1 and then another one for what I'm comfortable with. And I'll show you what mine look like. So here is my billing and cost management page. You can see I'm spending a couple bucks a month. These are mostly in Route 53 charges for domains. But let's look at our billing alerts. So I have an AWS budget for any given month. I have this set up, and it just says if I have more than $50 in spent, it's too much AWS. So I have like a forecasted amount, and I have the current amount. It's a couple bucks. It's fine. From here, I go to the alerts page, and I just set up alerts. So I can edit them and show you, but you can see the three of them. If my actual cost grows more than 85%, this will trigger, and I'll get an email, and it'll tell me, hey, you're getting in trouble here. The second thing is the forecasted cost is greater than 100%, and then the actual cost is greater than 100%. These are both important to turn on because you want to know if it looks like you're about to go over your budget for the month. Like if you in the first couple of days you start spending more and more, it can generate this email even if you haven't hit that cost limit. So you'll know if you're like about to hit it or you're going to hit it. And then finally, of course, if the actual cost goes over my budget. And again, my budget is $50 a month. You should set this to whatever you're comfortable with. I recommend for brand new people, just set it to $1. Right? That way you're going to know. I just realized the other one that I need to talk about. 1 second. Okay. Finally. Oh, hey, Levi. Yeah, exactly. The next thing you should be on the lookout for is these emails. AWS free tier limit alert. If it helps, you can, search for that in Gmail or in your email provider. I don't know if people use something other than Gmail anymore. But make sure that you allow this email and this provider from cost alerts at AmazonAWS.com. You will get this when you start to hit that limit. So you see my 85% usage for my free tier eligible services. This is coming through now. I use some custom metrics. So after that, I'm going to get a bill. When you start to exceed the free tier, you want to make sure you know it. So definitely get an alert for that. Turn these on, and I think these come by default. Yeah, once you create an AWS budget, these will come by default. Okay. So we've talked about the free tier is not an AWS account. It is a factor of every AWS account, and if you exceed it, you're going to get a bill. If you're uncomfortable with that, using AWS Educate, turning on these billing alerts, looking for these billing alert emails. Now we should talk about the actual rules. The free tier. AWS has a pretty generous free tier. It's got a bunch of features. They have tons and tons of services. They all are free for various things. They offer trials, 1 year free, and always free services. The free year gets you kind of a little of everything. You get to run a database in RDS. You get to run EC2 instance. You get to use some S3, and then some more different things too, like SageMaker and so on. Use this website. Go to the free tier and look for the things you're considering before you create a new application, before you spin up a new service, or if you're looking at a new CDK template or CloudFormation template and you want to test something out, look at what things it provisions and look at the limits that they come with, because you are going to be stuck to these limits, and if you go over, you're going to get a bill. Sinner, this is where you pull the plug on the unlimited free TV. So, yeah, they don't want you creating new management accounts to get through the free tier, is what I learned. So I pulled that video down. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what else we have. Okay. So if you're looking for always free services, click the always free button. This is why you're going to stick around these serverless services like Lambda and Dynamo and SNS, and you get to use these for free forever. You get 1 million requests per month for free, but read the fine print here because these are limited to 400,000 gigabyte seconds or 3.2 million seconds of compute time per month. So there's limits here. And if you go over, you're going to start to get a bill. The same with Dynamo. And the same thing when we were talking about the 12 months free. Make sure you read the fine print because these are limited to specific instances like a T2 micro or a T3 micro. And they depend on the region. So not all regions have T3s. Those are the Nitro ones. You want these, but I don't think they have them in US East 1. But you can't just spin up like a, I don't know, R4XL and then use it for a couple of hours and expect that to be free. You're going to get a bill for that right away. So read the rules for the free tier. It's really important that you do this. And if you're considering like a new template or you're reading a blog post and it's telling you to go and like create this thing, create that thing, look it up in the free tier first and make sure that you know what you're getting into. All right. So let's we need to spin up an instance for this next part. So we have a budget. We should log out of my, let's log out. Boop. Okay, 1 second. AWS SSO personal. We'll log into my one of my personal accounts so that I can do stuff without using the root account because I just got done telling you not to do that and it would feel kind of dumb if I did. All right. Sorry again about all the flashbangs. What is this? Oh my God. All of these people are coming into my chat and trying to send me free viewers, which I don't want. I want you guys. Oh no, 18 cents I spent on EC2. Instances. Okay, so let's start an instance and then I'll delete it, but I'll show people what goes wrong. So let's create an instance. Now, I think the next most common mistake is not realizing that both instances and also other like resources like CloudFormation stacks or blogs that you read on the internet are going to create multiple paid services. So when you're here and you're creating an instance, you're thinking, oh, this is great. I'm just going to turn on this instance. You know, it's free tier, no problem. Let's just get going. But I think what a bunch of people kind of forget is that this storage is billed separately. So if we launch this instance and then later on we delete it, we have to remember to delete the storage as well. And I think this really jumps on people when they are doing stuff in the console. And I think that's probably my biggest feedback is you're using the AWS console, you're clicking around and creating some stuff. Maybe you get something working, you're trying it out, you're having fun, you're playing with it. And then you think you deleted it and you're done. You did your thing. And then at the end of the month, you get this bill for, $100 or something. And the reason is that your instance that you deployed came with attached storage, or you deployed a, you didn't delete the elastic IP that comes with this. So you get charged for like an IPv4 address. All those different components of your bill are separated. So you need to make sure that I think the easiest way to do this is just use CloudFormation. Don't use the AWS console here. That follows a bunch of best practices anyway. But when you're doing this, you got to remember to go off and look at these other components of the EC2 dashboard or the other components that you spun up and delete the storage and free the EIP address and delete the instance itself. And that way you're not going to get a bill because you kind of went through one flow to create everything, but it's a separate flow to delete other things. All right, we'll let this provision here for a second, and then we'll delete it, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Yeah, Sinner, I'll do another like unlimited free tier video. I have to talk with the right people at AWS because there's like it's in their TOS that they don't want you to do it, but it's an email address. You can create new ones. I don't really understand what they're trying to do. Also, I think eventually AWS is going to have to offer like a perpetual free tier with instances just to compete. So maybe it doesn't matter. Okay, is this instance up yet? All right, we brought it up just to delete it. Another common mistake here, this is a bonus one. We'll call this one 5.5 for those who are keeping count. You have this instance and you hit stop and you think, okay, we're done. It does warn you right here. You're going to be billed for associated resources. This includes elastic IP addresses and EBS volumes. So they tell you this, but you have to go off and find these, right? So you're going to stop this instance. Now we're not going to get billed for it anymore. And I'm actually just going to delete it because I don't need it anymore. But now what I have to do is actually go to the EBS volume and delete it. On an EBS, okay, this is good to know. On an EBS-backed instance, the default action for the root volume is to be deleted when the instance is terminated. So storage is actually going to be lost. So now you can actually terminate it and it'll delete your storage. But make sure, right? Go over here. You have this volume. This is going to cost you money. So refresh it. Make sure it's gone. I said refresh it. Make sure it's gone. Is it not gone? Boom. Successful termination. Oh, it's shutting down right now. Hack and Soul. Free tiers for other cloud providers are harder to get, often require creating virtual cards and new accounts over time. I mean, that's true. Regulators, you're right. If all you need is a free tier compute, AWS might not be the best choice. Sinner is talking about, what do you got? The SST folks? These people just keep writing stuff. Management account. Yep. So we've done this before. We should do an actual video of this. The mid-twit meme needs to be updated with a 300 IQ, $0 VPS with AJ behind bars. I'm in jail, directly to jail. They were nice about it. They were like, considering they're like, they made me an AWS hero and everything. They were really nice about when they were like, please don't tell people to evade the rules for the free tier. I was like, you know what? I'll pull it down. I shouldn't have done that. This is all pretty good stuff. I think SSO is good. Let us know if you want to document this as well. Should we tweet at them and be like, you should do that? I mean, honestly, like, I've told you all this before. I will see if this makes a cut. Honestly, my best advice is just get started with the serverless stuff. You're going to be happy there too. Use Lambda, use Dynamo, use S3. There's a ton of stuff you can build there. There's years of learning that you can do there, building on top of this kind of serverless primitive, and you're never going to get a bill. And if you want to jump onto a new project, you just create a new project, and you don't get a bill for every project because they're not getting used. And yeah, of course, once you get users, it's a different thing, but these billing alerts are going to help you there. And there's more stuff we can do. You can talk about provision concurrency, so you can, run in provision mode and pay a little bit less for your compute. There's a ton of things you can do to limit your bill, but you do have to read the docs. I'm sorry. Did this shut down? Okay. Great. So yeah, you can see that we deleted that instance, and now the volume itself was actually deleted because we fully terminated it. So don't just stop the instance, also go out and delete it. And then you should definitely go out and look at your Elastic IPs and make sure you don't have any of these, because these now you get a charge, like a $4 a month charge for. Same with load balancers. If you're deploying a template like that you found on the internet, you're probably gonna end up with a load balancer. Those cost you about $20 a month or $14 a month to run, and they're billed hourly. So make sure you turn these off and delete them. Regalius, does Datadog use Lambda? So we are Datadog's entirely multi-cloud for all of our intake service and like our data stores, and everything you use like on Datadog.com is all multi-cloud. So we run one on AWS, we run some on GCP, we run some on Azure. So no, we don't use Lambda for that. And yeah, for the high throughput, it probably isn't that good. We do use Lambda for a bunch of other stuff internally, like at the company, but we don't use it in production. Yeah, IPv6 support is still awful. Apparent Order did an awesome blog post about it. A whole series of 3 of them. I saw Corey Quinn finally picked it up. He's been a mutual. He's been in chat before too. I'm sorry. I don't know. They've been in chat before too. So would recommend checking that out. Hey, no good Nick. Yeah, use a lot of containers. I do a lot of. I think my biggest build component has been ECR. Besides Route 53 for domains. So yeah, I like Docker. K8s, I do at work. I don't use it personally. It's kind of overkill. I just use Fargate, or I'll use like ECS if I really need my own clustering and scheduling. But that's the next thing we have to talk about. Okay. Oh, yo, Estranged HD. That's a great name. Thanks for the follow. We were just talking about estranged EBS devices and how you need to delete them. Okay. Uh-oh, I just heard the baby. Okay, we're going to wrap this video up. We're doing great. Go, do. All right, the next really common mistake that I see people make is using and deploying these like really sweet high availability templates that you find on the internet. This is an example. I'm not picking on this one specifically. I love the AWS CDK examples repo. You should use it. But here's like just an example. You have a load balanced ECS cluster deployed across multiple availability zones. This is great. This is the type of thing you want to probably learn because it's something that you're going to use in a production environment at a company. However, it's going to be expensive to run, and when you're running these sweet highly available services, or you're doing cross zonal replication or even cross regional replication, you're going to get a bill for that. AWS charges on network bandwidth, and they charge a lot. So if you're replicating data across availability zones or even across regions, that's expensive, and that racks up a quick charge. So deploy this, test it, but then delete it right away once you're done testing it, because you're gonna get a bill for this. A lot of these patterns are really good to learn, but they're not free. All of these are going to cost money. I don't think any of these are free tier projects. They're all going to be pretty expensive relative to like a free tier. You know what I mean? They're going to be like tens or 20s or hundreds of dollars a month. But they're worth trying out. They're worth reading about, and they're certainly worth like reading how they set them up, right? You can learn the networking, you can learn the availability, and you can learn kind of some best practices from this, but you don't necessarily have to deploy everything. And if you stick around with this like Lambda DynamoDB stuff, this is going to be free. This is going to be totally free. Yeah, Levi, we're going to pull that up here in a minute. Yeah. No good, Nick. I hope that answered your question about Docker. We're gonna talk about duckbill group stuff here. We got two of these actually I want to pull up. Okay, so now, we need to go back to the, is it identity? No, organizations. Can I even see organizations? I think I'm going to have to log back into my root account. Oh yeah. Is it switch role? No, where's the picker? Yeah, organization, yeah. No, show me the picker. I want to go. Does anyone remember the link to go and switch your accounts? Dang it. Uh-oh, I leaked a very old address. I haven't lived there since college, so you guys can have it. One second, I'll pull it up here. Let's go to the main account. Oh, yeah, my answer did go on a lot. Sorry about that. The only thing I will put in S3 Glacier is my will. I've got a bunch of my my Synology stuff is mirrored to S3 Glacier. Okay. Now we've transitioned away from the mistakes that I think new people make when they're trying out AWS on their own. I want to talk a little bit about startup mistakes, or like new account kind of corporate new company mistakes that a lot of people make. The very first one is not splitting up your organization using AWS organizations. You should absolutely do this. Every time you're going to launch a new service, if it doesn't have specific networking needs for the rest of your infrastructure, if you're going to spin up something on its own, you should create a new AWS account for this. If you're going to create, a data warehouse kind of group, or like, data science kind of group, or you want to spin up an account for, prod versus staging versus dev versus, Gary in accounting, these should all be separate AWS accounts. This is good for security practices, but it's also good for billing, because each of these can have tags. So every account that you create, you should tag it, and you can give multiple tags here. But this will help you roll up when you look at billing metrics. It'll tell you not only which account it came from, but also any of these tags. Not setting tags on your infrastructure that you create is a big mistake that people make. So definitely add tags to infrastructure and add tags to AWS accounts. Okay, we did that. Oh yeah. Okay, now I think we have to. Yeah, exactly, Levi. We're gonna go over to actually the billing console right now. That's what I was gonna talk about next. But I think I have to log out entirely, and I have to log in as root. Sign out. sign in using root user, MFA. Okay. The next most common mistakes I see people make is not giving their developers access to the billing and account management, the billing and cost management. Ugh. The next most common mistake I see a lot of organizations make is not letting developers get access to the billing and cost management part of AWS. They usually restrict this, and it's limited to like the CTO and the CFO or whatever. This is difficult because every technology decision that you're making is a financial decision about how much that's going to cost for an application you're designing. So these cost decisions are also engineering decisions, and your engineer should be able to see this information and see what their service is going to cost them for a given month or a given year or whatever. The more you allow developers access to this, the more they're going to see things like we've talked about already, orphaned resources they don't necessarily need, or the actual cost of the service is growing in a way they didn't expect. They're going to be able to find and track down these problems with the Cost Explorer, and they're going to be able to save you some money in the long run. So I'm not sure where culturally this came from, but there was this long history where developers weren't given access to any of the cost information for what they were doing. And I think that's a mistake. You definitely want your developers to be able to see what they're spending when their services are composed together inside of AWS. Because if you're not doing that, then you're going to have these runaway bills, and you're going to have to eventually, someone's going to track it down and come to your desk and say, what is this, this charge for ECR? What's this charge for Glacier? Why do we enter into this crazy long, savings plan contract if we're not using any of these services, or they're not permanent part of our bill? Okay, now we have to talk about Corey Quinn's stuff. Two things we should talk about. Okay. Boom. As your company grows, data transfer in AWS is going to become a significant component of your bill. So it's important to sort of understand that now as you're learning this stuff, because it can get out of control really quickly. I recommend checking out Corey Quinn's blogs on the duckbillgroup.com. I'll add a link in the description here. It is a really good infographic that tells you exactly where you're getting charged per terabyte or per gigabyte between different points, including inside of regions, inside of different availability zones, things like private link if you're merging VPCs or like VPC endpoints, and so on and so forth. There is a lot here. This is difficult to grasp, but these costs do add up. So it's important to understand when you have any service, if you're deploying a highly available service, you're going to deploy it across AZs. Replicating that data across AZs is not free. Like if you're running Kafka, you're running like a 3-node Kafka cluster in 3 AZs in US East 1, you're going to get a bill for that traffic between all of those AZs. So that's something to really consider. A lot of managed services don't bill for transit. So if you're using something like EKS, you can kind of get away from that here, or you're just storing data in S3, for example, you can avoid those cross-region fee or cross-AZ fees that way. And then he always talks about this, but managed NAT gateway is one of the most common large expenses inside of your AWS account. You have a NAT gateway in your VPC. You need NAT so that your instances can access the outside internet, and then that is billed at a hourly rate, and then you get $45 a terabyte for any kind of transfer. So that can really add up. All right, 2 more. We're almost there. Corey's also got a great blog about turning stuff off. But we already covered a little bit about this, but I want to talk about the things that I think come up a lot, and that is deleting old data that you don't realize you have. So if you're doing, backups every 12 hours of every instance's EBS root, for example, that's going to get really expensive, especially if you add them up over the course of years or more. Think about how long your backups need to last. I once saved our company like $5,000 a month because we had point-in-time restore on DynamoDB tables that were storing like high volume data in our dev account. So once I realized that and I got access to the billing account, I thought, wait a second, our dev account has this crazy charge and it's almost all coming from Dynamo. And then I looked at it, and yeah, it's all from these backups from data that we can just burn. So enable your developers to see that stuff, and then make sure they're looking at the storage charges that kind of can rack up, because by default, they tend to last in perpetuity. CloudWatch is similar, although I think the largest charge in CloudWatch is the 50 cents a gigabyte just to ingest. But even then, if you have unlimited retention, you're going to get a bill for that at some point. Amazon ECR is another common one I see. People push Docker containers every couple minutes when they're working on stuff, and then they don't ever delete any of their containers images. So set life cycles on those things, and then you can delete old ones. Once you get in the habit of that, it's really easy to kind of extend that pattern for life cycles everywhere else, but it's important. And then S3 is also a big one. S3 storage lens, definitely take a look at this. S3 is another big one to look at. S3 storage lens will help you understand what's in your bucket when it's being used, and if you can delete it, then you can also kind of save a bunch of money deleting stuff out of S3 that you're not using anymore. S3 intelligent tier. So all of the intelligent tiering stuff it is useful, but it depends on what you're using it for. And I think I'm speaking specifically about just like old data right now. Definitely worthwhile. Intelligent, yeah. Levi pointed this out. There's a minimum charge for intelligence tier. So you go up to there's a minimum size. So I think it's like, is it 256 kilobytes? If you have a bunch of small objects, it can get very, very expensive. Okay, now the last thing I want to talk about, AWS savings plan. Boom, ba bum. All right. Now and only now, once you've done all these things, can you really consider signing a long-term contract for something like either reserved instances or saving plans? I'm not an expert here. Corey Quinn's the real expert here. My understanding is that saving plans tend to be more flexible because it's commit spend for a given year that you can kind of shift around between things. I believe you also get to spend this on the marketplace. Let me double check this. Where is the FAQ? Yeah, this is typically for compute. So once you get this far, it's probably worthwhile to explore a savings plan, especially for like the steady state compute that you're spending. If you're going to have 30 EC2 instances every single month in this region, that's something worthwhile. I think the benefit of the compute savings plan is you can move it around regardless of the region and the AZ, but you do get, compared to a reserved instance where you have to pick the specific AZ and the specific instance type. So I think savings plans tend to do a little bit better. But I think only once you've done these other 12 things that I've asked you to do, even though it was, we were going with 10, but we got a bonus 12. Now you can really consider entering into a savings plan agreement, and they offer a pretty substantial discount here. But that will take you pretty far. So let me know if I missed anything in the comments, and come yell at me on Twitter if there's something I forgot. Either way, now I think you're a lot more enabled to go out and create an AWS account with a confidence that you're not going to get a surprise bill. And then as you grow, your company, or as you grow your use of AWS, you'll feel confident using these tools available to manage your bill. That's all I got for you today. Thanks so much. See you in the next one. Yeah, Hack and Soul, exactly. You can you can apply it to a bunch of different stuff. The RIs, you have to pick a specific instance type and region. I'm still here. I just finished the recording. How long was that bad boy? Oh my God, that's another 3 gigabytes. It's going to be a lot of editing. Yeah, I think savings plans are generally better. Oh, of course. Custom contracts exist all over the place once you get big. I'm not really trying to cover that though. You know what I mean? That's not really the goal here. We're just trying to talk about the common small stuff. I hope that's helpful for folks. Oh, Levi's over on YouTube. Oh, Levi pointed out, yes, you get, Duckbill will audit your bill for you if you hire them, and they can take a look, which is great. I think a lot of people tend to see their bill is straight up EC2. I think that's super, super common to click into a bill and just see massive EC2 spend and not know where it's from. Is it network? Is it disk? Is it, actual compute? I mean, that's tough. But that's why people like Corey exist, and that's why these tools like tagging help. Cool. That is a banger. Put a little music back on. All right. Yeah, this is such a great diagram. It is crazy how much of this is is build. I also think maybe there's another hot take. I'm working on this blog post called "The Next 10 Years of the Cloud," and one of the things I'm really entertaining thinking of is that a lot of this spend is going to start to disappear. Like this bandwidth spend is going to start to go away. Levi, you're back on Twitch now. Don't show this at DHH. DHH is a good point. So like, I should really do a video about that too, and like my thoughts there, because on the one hand, vertical scaling has come a long way, and that hardware is a lot more reliable than ever. However, if your business is fully dependent on a server, like one machine at some point, that's pretty painful. All this mess just to end up making a video. We stopped using serverless and saved up a ton of money. Yeah, I mean, like, I think the other thing I want to do, Akinsul, is a whole video on where you shouldn't use serverless, because a ton of it comes down to like, oh, I was doing a like frame by frame video processing, and it's like, yeah, you're not really gonna get the economy of scale out of that. If your business isn't growing, self-hosting is an excellent option. Exactly. And if your business is like supports, you can do a lot of stuff ops free on AWS, and if you want to hire someone for that, then you can. I think DHH is in this position where his company, while it's growing linearly, and in a way that he can plan a year in advance for how many servers he's going to need. That's a great time to think about on-prem. They're also not using a bunch of exotic stuff. They're not doing, HA stuff. They're not doing, I don't think they have a lot of like legal obligations, which AWS can make really easy. If you're in a regulated industry, doing everything on your own data center is like really expensive. And AWS makes a lot of that much cheaper to comply with. So there's just a bunch there to think about. It just depends on the business type. Yeah, if you're building, Basecamp, I think there's a lot more options. If you're, if you're providing like medical devices, then it's a different story. Or you're providing like medical data processing. SOC 2, that's true. You do get SOC 2 on Hetzner. I mean, I just don't want to smash my knuckles on rack nuts anymore. I've got scars from when I was younger working in a data center anyway, so I just don't want to do that anymore. But even then, I think it's so funny because I think a lot of the problems from AWS stem from people not understanding how to put it together and getting a big bill, and not necessarily, doing everything right and still being twice as expensive as, or like 5 times as expensive as on-prem. But there's if you don't need new servers every week or every month, then yeah, like on-prem can be a really, really cost-effective way to do it for sure. Glad. I'm feeling good about our the video here. That felt like a good one. Should we sign up for Oracle? Should we try that? Oh, Levi, yeah, we got hit with data residency and foreign government compliant in a weekend because you can add servers. Yeah, exactly. That's another big one. Data residency requirements. And that's also what's killing these, like, the whole, like, global transactional, like, data store as a service. Like, if you end up actually needing to spin up copies of your infra in regulatory environments. And that's where I think, like, in the 2010s, it was this big stretch to see, like, can we build something that replicates data everywhere, and you can have like a global database like with Spanner, right? And we're learning that is actually hard because, you're going to deploy in one, region or one part of the world, and they're going to have totally different laws. Like this data can't leave here. And that's where it's beneficial. You can spin up a new copy of your infra for super cheap, and you can still make your margin. And I think that's one of the benefits also of serverless there, right? Where yo, what's up, XA Clip Z? Welcome to chat. That's one of the advantages of serverless there too, where if even if your bill is more expensive than hosting it yourself, right? If your bill scales with your revenue, and then you want to go support some customer in the other side of the world, you can do that with a click of a button. Yo, thanks for the follow. Missed the Rust talk. Oh, we've given the Rust talk. I am writing a lot of Rust these days. It's a lot of fun. We have to pull this up in an incognito. That's right. I forget about this. Boom, boom. Yeah, this has been my biggest project at work. Our Lambda extension. We wrote it in Rust. It's been great. I'm a fan. I think it's really good. Baby is crying. 1 second. You want me to grab her? All right, we're okay. Yeah, baby cries. What if I cry louder? It's good. I like Rust. I found it to be super, super useful. It is a lot of fun, and I think it is a great tool for the modern world. I also find it pretty productive. I don't know what people are talking about. I didn't really have a ton of problems with like lifetimes and such. I thought that was okay. I mean, I think if you've written like C before and you understand how long memory has to stick around and when to free it, I think then you map pretty well. But if you've never had to do that, it can be tricky. Baby's almost old enough to start learning Rust. I tried to read her the Rust for Rustations book, and she didn't like that very much. It's been a fun project. I like this a lot, actually. And then I think the other thing I love about Rust is you get this the crate split, the crate binary split. So we've got one binary for Lambda, but we can do one for Fargate, and it's really easy to build it all out of the same project. They did a good job for that. There's stuff I wouldn't use it for, of course. I think, okay, so here's my Rust hot take. Why Rust? Memory, safety, performance, yeah, all that stuff's good. So I think my usage of Rust breaks down across two kind of dimensions. Maybe a little Venn diagram. Oh, we'll just copy this. So anything I'm doing, like if I'm doing a simple, like we'll do this and we'll do for back-end stuff. This is kind of where I'm at. Why is this so huge? Oh, I don't want to go to the terminal. Sorry. Okay, actually, we should record this. This is a good idea. Where I use Go versus Rust. I think both of these languages are really well suited to applications, anywhere kind of in the back end or on the library side of the stack. But for me, it really breaks down to a couple of cases. If I'm building, like an API in the back end, I think I'm going to really generally stick with Go for the beginning because I want garbage collection, and I like the ergonomics that Go has. It's super, super easy, and kind of anyone anyone can write Go. It's really easy to learn, and it's really, really simple to get started and just build like a backend API with this. Go's standard library is really, really mature. There is kind of one way to do everything right really easily. They have a really good HTTP multiplexer library, so it's super simple to just create a web server and start serving web requests in Go. I think any backend API, I'm going straight to Go. The other thing I think I would use Go for is oh yeah, okay. We should do Rust next. Okay. So where would I look for Rust? I think the next thing I'm always going to pick Rust for is anything that runs in the client. So if you are shipping an agent or a process that's going to run on someone's computer or run on someone else's infrastructure or someone's host, and you want to send data maybe back to your infra, anything doing that, I'm going to write that in Rust. And there's kind of two reasons. One, you're going to get a lower overhead usually with Rust because it's all going to be, there's no garbage collector. The runtime is much smaller. But the biggest improvement is that the memory safety guarantees you get mean that you're going to have a safer payload. You're less likely to have like a nil pointer exception that you can get in Go, or like a memory race, right? When you have two Go routines that try to race for the same part of a slice. Super easy to do in Go, super easy to create those data races in Go, much harder or impossible in Rust. So anything that I'm going to ship to the client, I want to write that in Rust because I don't want it to crash on their machine. And it's a lot harder, when you're running something on someone else's computer, it is way harder to troubleshoot it and triage it and try to figure out what's going wrong. So I think Rust and the memory safety can really kind of save you there. Hey, Nacho, and thanks for the follow. I'm sorry for whoever followed. I was looking to the camera and look at my alerts. Rust is just so good for Lambda because it scales on the same price metrics, memory and speed. Yeah, true. I think Go and Rust are really similar. And Sinner, Max and I used to work together for a long time. Actually, he worked at Datadog with me. So good guy. Love this project. I helped him brainstorm this a little bit, but he wrote it all. It's great. This is sick. Where were we talking about .NET? Hold on. I was talking about .NET earlier. Yeah. It's crazy fast when it's warm. Is that AOT? Yeah. 6 milliseconds on AL 2023, which is nuts. Like, that's crazy fast once it's all compiled and warmed up. Hey, Nacho. Good to see you, man. All right. So we talked about like a backend API in Go. Other stuff I'm going to write here are like cron kind of like schedule stuff. If I need to send emails or, collect data, aggregate some backend stuff, all of that kind of stuff I'm going to do in Go just because it's super simple and straightforward. Where I think I'm going to mix the two is any kind of like distributed data system. This is where it gets a little risky. So if you're building a data store or like a managed service that can you're streaming now. Sweet. I'll try to follow you. So we've at Datadog, we've used both Go and Rust for our distributed data systems. What I tend to see the teams do is, and we have a blog post about this actually. Should we, hold on. Where's this blog post? Not that one. We should talk about this. Okay. So at Datadog, we've had a number of services that are written in Go that we've started to kind of move to Rust. And we tend to do that when the overhead from Go's garbage collection gets to be the number one thing that is limiting us as our bottleneck. And that's where we started writing it in Rust. There's a great blog post here from Artem about how we did this and why. This is for our time series indexing. So I'll link to that in the description below. This is a great post. We should probably do a whole video on this itself. But this service specifically was rewritten from Go and into Rust. And we talk about it here, about a little bit why we did that. But it's a lot of the things I'm talking about here. At a certain point, you're spending a lot more time in garbage collection than you'd like to. And you'd like to take that time back and use it for indexing data or compacting data or aggregating data. And that's where Rust becomes like a really, really good fit because you can manage that memory specifically. Do we talk about, yeah, here we go. Whoop. So while Go worked really well for most services, it's not the best fit for super resource intensive use cases. That's where the service is spending 30% of CPU on garbage collection. I think that tends to be what I see everywhere. It's a number that gets thrown out a lot, is like about 30% of your CPU is just going to be dedicated to garbage collection. And at a certain point, implementing all of those optimizations become really, really time consuming. So that's when I'm going to pick up Rust. What other hot takes do I have between Go and Rust? Oh yeah, here's another one. Large team, smaller team. So if I'm going to build a project with a smaller team, I'm more likely to pick Rust than I am for a larger team. I think Go has, it's more mature. It's got a much more kind of standardized way of doing things. Like I said earlier, the standard library is super, super good. So it's really easy to kind of set forward a pattern and have everybody follow it. With Rust, you might find yourself, having to make part of the code concurrent. So now you have to like pass around a atomic reference counter or an arc or a mutex everywhere. And then those refactors can get a little painful because, you have multiple branches and you're squashing and that sort of thing. It can be tougher to ship with a larger team. So I think this is one of the bias areas that maybe I'm going to be wrong about in the future, but so far this is sort of where I've fallen on this track. Hack and Slay, you're going to pick up LLRT. I don't think have they made any changes to that? I think it's a pretty cool runtime, but I think it still misses a bunch of stuff. What other stuff in Go versus Rust am I thinking about here? So okay. if I need specific libraries, one of the downsides I've already found with Rust is that there are a lot of options, but they're all kind of community supported and open source. Google had just an army of people working on Go, so even the most esoteric libraries are there, and they're kind of first class supported in Go. And I think that's pretty awesome compared to something like Rust, where, for example, we were in an issue where we were looking for a proxy library for HTTP client, and it didn't exist yet. So then we were like switched the HTTP client and found one and used it, and that's fine. But something like Go, all of that's already built in. You can just like pass it a proxy URL, and it'll just work, which I think is great. What other ones would I do here? Libraries, binaries. Oh yeah, for sure. One other place I'm going to use Rust probably every time is if I want to spin up a sub process to do something specific. Like if I want to talk to a process that just aggregates data or just I don't know, converts like a video stream. You know, you're gonna have like a JavaScript application running, and then you want to call out to something for like the really fast part. Rust is great for that. They've got a pretty good FFI setup, so it's easy to just call in. It's also, if you're going to do any kind of systems programming. If you're going to do any kind of systems programming, Rust is super good. It's really, really easy to like use a public extern and a C to use C calling conventions to call into like a C library. So that I think is great. I don't do a lot of that, but I think that there's a certain element of that is much easier in Rust than in Go. I want to use Rata UI, but charm.sh is so good. I've not used charm.sh. Cargo is much better than importing. I think Go mods is pretty easy. I like Go's module resolution is good. One second, I'm gonna go check on the baby. Okay, we're back. Oh no, I wrecked my carpet. What other Go versus Rust things? Actually, you know, there's a lot of overlap here. There's also just a ton of overlap here where you could kind of go either or, in my opinion. I think there's times in Rust where you find yourself really wishing you had a garbage collector, and then it's just like overkill, and you're like, why did I go this way? I think if you're sticking to some of these use cases, it's great. But again, if I'm just trying to build like a backend API or trying to run a bunch of jobs on a schedule, or if I have a big team, I'm just going to go for Go every time. These are just my opinions so far. I'm not, trying to be an authority here. It's just what I've experienced from writing a lot of Go and a lot of Rust in probably the last 5 years. But that's my hot take. Do you care much for the language? No. Okay. So I don't find the syntax for Rust to be that annoying, to be honest with you. I think the actual like semantics of the language are fine. I think it's more like convincing all people in a big team learning Rust. Yeah, that's tougher. I mean, like convincing anyone there. You have to have a good use case. Like I said, for us, it's like, we have a specific. We need to ship really tiny binary that we know is not gonna crash, and it's yeah. I don't mind async Rust so much, Regalius. I don't know. Maybe that's a Rust hot take. I haven't. Is like obviously like Go routine has. Go has really mature async programming. That's true. Good async Rust coming 2024. I think Rust has Tokyo. It's fine if you stick with it. I think Tokyo is totally fine and totally workable. Go routines and signals and channels are really, really, really easy, and they're everywhere, and it's the only way to do it. Versus Rust has this, there's Tokyo in every library that uses it, and then Rust has its own futures implementation and its own like async, its own async syntax and its own async semantics. and they're kind of like fighting a little bit. But that goes back to sort of the library maturity, right? Like Go has one way to do everything. It is the way to do it. Every book talks about it. Every doc talks about it. And there's an army of Google engineers making it work that way. And Rust is, a large programming language supported by a community and the Rust Foundation and whatever that is. So you end up with a little bit more fragmented libraries and a little bit more fragmented stuff. I think one thing that you do run into a lot with Rust is you want to use a specific library, but then it's, okay, you have to go and use Tokyo and use your own runtime. And I think the default threading was fine. We used system threads for a lot of the initial implementation, but then eventually we wanted to import a library that had done a lot of work already, and it was all written for Tokyo. So then we had to use it. So I want to use Rust at home and Go for work. I use both. It's okay. It's really not bad. I don't want to, I like it a lot. Like I said, there's tons of overlap here where you can go either way and be generally pretty happy about it. We could talk about profiling and tracing. I think like Rust, you need the system profiler. You have to compile with debug symbols and that sort of thing. Go, you have less of that. Oh yeah, there's another one. The last place I would consider Rust is if you have a tiny footprint. You're either trying to deploy to something embedded, or you're like shipping something to a Lambda function where you want to limit the amount of both memory and actually disk space the program itself uses. This is less and less of an issue for a lot of people, but for me, it became important. Go's default hello world binary that you compile is something like 5 or 10 megabytes just straight up for the runtime itself. It's a great runtime. It does a lot of stuff for you, but it's not light. It's a heavy runtime. So that's why on the back end, I think Go is super, super useful. I'm not building anything in Python or Node on the back end anymore. It's all going to be Go or it's going to be Rust, and it's going to kind of depend. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. I hope you like this. This is a little bit of overhead from... Sorry, I'm going to have a drink and we'll retake that. Anyway, I hope you liked this video. Let me know what you think in the comments. This is an overview from me using both Go and Rust in production the last probably 4 or 5 years, but I want to know what you think. Let me know. What do you like? What do you want to use? What do you use right now? Give me a shout out. Talk soon. See ya. Why did I drop Node? I mean, man, a lot of reasons. I still use a little bit of JavaScript, but why? Like, it's slow. It's for data processing and a lot of the stuff we do at Datadog. It's not great. Rock and Zig just aren't big enough. I use Zig Build. I have Zig installed everywhere, so I can use Zig Build because it's amazing for cross compilation. Oh, we should have talked about that. Go has way better cross compiling. But yeah, no runtime compiles to native is a bigger win. Yeah, that the runtime for Rust is so little. Go's just got such a huge runtime, but it does a bunch of stuff for you, so that's nice. Yeah, why drop? I mean, it's just not very it's great for getting started on a back end, but eventually you're gonna want to use Go. I think for most people, like we still have a bunch of Python around at Datadog, and we're like converting it all over to Go, and it's been really, really solid. Bun already has 75,000 stars. That's a huge advocate for Zig. Yeah, I mean, I no doubt Zig's great. I know Mitchell Hashimoto loves it a lot. He's working on his new terminal emulator in Zig, and it seems to be really popular. He's also got a pretty cool library he wrote. I was reading about. Let's pull it up. Bum, bum, bum. Lib EX or XEV. So Mitchell wrote this all in Zig, and it is a cross-platform event loop. I'm a little confused about the way he says this because it said works on Linux with either IOU ring or ePOL, but it looked like it is. I can't tell if it replaces IOU ring or uses IOU ring. Ironically, Bun has more stars than Zig. I mean, yeah, I believe that. There's more JavaScript developers than there are, systems programmers. Neat though. JS ecosystem on top. I mean, JS is great. Like I still use a lot of it, but we don't run it on the back end here. Sadly, not the tool chain. No. Although PNPM is good. Python's even worse though. Although everyone kept telling me to use UV. I haven't used that yet. Yeah, and the Rust toolchain is still missing a bunch of stuff. Like I said, we have to use ZigBuild to compile all of our stuff, and that's kind of a pain. It wasn't bad. Like once we got it figured out, it wasn't bad. But yeah, to cross compile from like ARM to x86 or whatever, it was a whole thing. We should give this a star. I don't know why I haven't. Oh, no, my notifications are probably a disaster. Oh, dear. I have to single sign on. They're all bad. Okay, well, whatever. What I truly love about Rust is all the dev tools that are built for Node and Python. Fair. I think that's a great point. It's improved a bunch of Node and Python development because everything got faster. Yeah, absolutely right. Like ES Build is written in Go. That is a huge step up from Webpack, right? Way, way, way faster. All right, it is already almost 3. I'm gonna probably have to go raid somebody because I do actually have to go now and help with the baby. Cloudflare supports better than Go for workers. That's another one. Oh, I didn't realize that. Is that just because it's WASM? Yeah. All right. We are going to go probably raid. We'll go raid Trash Puppy. Oh, hey, ARM2. Sorry, I'm just jumping off. I got to run. I'm going to go help out with the baby. It was great seeing you all, hanging out with you on this fine, fine Saturday. Everyone enjoy and go hang out in Trash Puppy's chat and see what they're up to. Yeah, sorry, ARM12. I'll be back tomorrow. Oh yeah, if you're lurking in the stream, thanks for hanging out. Please drop a follow. I appreciate it, Jack Harden and everyone else. I only get to stream for a couple hours on the weekends just because new baby and full-time job and stuff. But I'm gonna be starting to I'll go on paternity leave I think soon, coming up in November, and I'll hopefully do more like daytime streaming. We'll see about the baby though. Of course, she's the priority. So take care and hopefully see you all tomorrow.